Was that? Okay. Hi, I'd like to call to order this, special meeting for the library. And, quickly establish quorum
Chair Bedard,
here.
Vice Chair Morris.
Yeah.
Commissioner Crane,
Yeah.
Commissioner Carter.
Yeah.
Commissioner Fawcett.
Yeah.
You have quorum.
Excellent, thank you. And if we'd like to stand and say the pledge of allegiance real quick. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Excellent. Are there any public comments for items not on the agenda?
No.
You're up.
Okay.
I'll set a timer for 3 minutes.
Good evening, board. Good evening, Raleigh representatives. I was looking at your agenda and minutes from last meetings, and I haven't seen an update from the main patio project. I know there's been a lot of money spent so far on the design of it, having to hire a historian at Raleigh's expense, a lot of other things, and I just wondered what is the timeline for what's going on? Because I've been working with the people who have been concerned with the apricot orchard. We've been hearing things such as the city trying to change its charter to have more control, to have less public input on historic determinations. For example, I know this project got delayed last year, which should have been approved last spring because the city didn't tell Lolly that their encroachments onto the historic orchard, which is a state historic resource, had to go through certain procedures like review with the historic commission and all that. And the fact that wasn't done, again, is not their fault, but it runs up costs. And now I hear there's trying to be some other backdoor routine of the city people at City Hall, trying to change the historic resource description without going through public processes, which is what the state law requires on that. So this is why I'd like to have an update. And I think it's risen to the level of enough questions that you need to be involved. I know you've got a work plan discussion, and I hope that that will be added to that. I'll also speak later on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So the first item we have are the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of October 3rd, 2024. First off, are there any comments from commissioners on the minutes? Would you like to call a roll?
There needs to be a motion in a second.
I move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Chair Bedard,
Aye.
Vice Chair Morris,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Fawcett.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like, if it's possible, I'd like to move that we deal with item number 5 and right now, and have a discussion, review the preliminary Woodland Library patio drawings.
So you need to make a motion and then there needs to be a second and then.
Sure. So I'd like to make a motion that we move item 5 to in front of item number 2. I made the motion.
I'll second.
Chair Bedard,
Aye.
Vice Chair Morris,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Fawcett.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Excellent. Freddie, can you talk to the preliminary plans on the agenda, or was that?
I can, you want me to?
Oh, yes.
Please.
Yeah, sure.
I'll put it on the screen.
Okay, so I'm sure we all recognize the front of the Woodland Library as it is today. Could you go to the next slide, please? So this is the existing patio out in the back, as it is today. There's been the addition of two, I'm gonna call them chess tables. They are about the size of a nice big chessboard and have two benches that I believe the Boy Scouts built and donated, but that's the extent of any furniture for the patrons to use in the existing patio. Could you go to the next slide, please? This is the site of the area that we'd like to work on, and this is turned out to be very serendipitously and much to our delight, a joint project with Greentown and Lolly. The entire area that you see there that's kind of like, looks like a dead grass, which is what it is, dead weeds. That's the area that would be renovated and developed. The aerial picture on the right-hand side will show you what the adjoining properties, the residential properties look like. There are 4 adjoining properties, and really 3 that would be affected by this project. Would you go to the next? Okay, this is a rendering of what the area could be. And I want to say could be because Lolly is responsible for the extended patio and the game area. And Greentown wants to develop a good portion of the back as a native plant teaching garden. And all along, even when we were talking about this at the Library Commission, we knew that the rest of that site, something needed to be done with it. It would be a shame if it were just really nice extended patio and weeds. So we were going to ask, what we thought were the Boy Scouts, if they could expand their native plant garden, but turns out Greentown wants to create this native plant teaching garden out there. And I will say that I think that their ultimate design will be somewhat similar to this because they were, I think it's not, I think Anthony, you'd agree that they thought that this was a good plan and that they kind of wanted to do something similar to this. Would you go to the next slide, please? Again, another just rendering. They have hired a master gardener who specializes in native plants. And she said that she very much agrees that it should look like this, where you have blooming plants all year round. And that she would plant them so that they would bloom all year round. So it would look something like this all the time. Next, please. Okay, this is part of the Lolly part of the project. We wanted to see an area where kids could get down on their knees and play, and where, you know, the librarian suggested large games like Connect Four and Jingo, or Jenga, I think is what it's called, that that the patrons could play with. Mostly, I think children would be playing with this, and to have artificial turf so that it could be clean. It would be always green, and Manny Hernandez, who's the Director of Parks and Recreation, has identified artificial turf that meets the environmental concerns of everyone who was involved in the dog park projects. So this would be an area that would be suitable for games and just to sit out on. We do want to have that shaded, and the afternoon sun comes this way. Okay, so it will be hitting that way. And Greentown has, Gary Hedden has already offered that he has a large tree that he could plant right there in their section, which would provide shade for this game area. And it's a large tree. He told me that Google has donated these trees, so it would also not be an expense. Next slide. This is the rendering of the patio area, the reading area, programming area, study area of the expanded patio at Woodland. And these are, the furniture is furniture that is small. It would be round tables, 4 to 6 chairs per table that you can move around. It's important for flexibility. The library wants flexibility so that they can rearrange these, move them, take them away, and clear the entire area for a program. And Jennifer's been kind enough to direct us to the company that builds or where they acquire their furniture. And I think you've seen slides of the Morgan Hill courtyard. They have colorful, interesting furniture, nice furniture like this that are smaller tables, etc. These are very interesting umbrellas, and they're SSA. They're extremely expensive, which Steve loves to pick. He's like me, going to a jewelry store, you go right for the most expensive thing. It's like, oh, why do I like that? Well, but at any rate, we would have movable umbrellas for shade. Next slide. Also, just this slide was just here so that you could see that the level of the decomposed granite surface of the expanded patio will be at the same level as the existing pavers. We won't change the pavers. We may move the bench to just make things, the traffic flow better, but it'll all be at the same level so that, someone with a disability could roll right out and it would be not a problem. Okay, next slide. Again, just another view of what the extended patio would look like. If you take a look on the left, that's a fence between the backyard where you saw the swimming pool right up to the fence line. We were thinking about planting trees along that fence line, but then once we did the aerial, the drone photos and saw that a swimming pool was right there, we decided that probably would not be a very nice thing to do because the roots might grow into their swimming pool. So what we're looking at with the assistance of landscape experts, obviously, will be some sort of bushes, etc., that the roots will be shallow. Next. Okay, this is an overhead view of what it will look like, and you see there's the decomposed granite pathway that will go through the native native plant garden. The path on the far right along those trees, most of which will remain. The idea is to take out the oleanders and replace them with native plants or native trees. But that road would be wider than it's depicted in this rendering, so that small trucks and, for example, an EMT vehicle could have access to the back. And the Greentown people suggested this, widening the path for a truck because they thought, it was just the logistics of being able to deliver, materials for, like dirt, but also, just, for example, if you wanted to use this for a party or something, you might want to have a truck to deliver food, etc. And it would just be better, we thought, to straighten that path out a bit, make it a little bit wider so that it could have access for a small truck. Okay, this is the current site of the entrance into that back area. And there's a berm to your left that is planted already with native plants. What we'd like to do is to use this area, and if you go to the next slide, Anthony, to create an entrance to the back area so that it would signify that there is something back there that's interesting for library patrons and just members of the community to go back and look at. And this would be an archway that there could be community and library bulletin boards where they could post notices. And it could also have attribution plaques. And I believe that's the last slide. And so we're very interested in your feedback and your input. We have had two meetings. We've had a meeting with the library staff for their feedback, and we got some excellent suggestions. And then we had a community engagement day where we had people from the community come in, and then library patrons. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any clarifying questions? I'll start with Christine.
That was nice. It looks wonderful. I remember we met, I did attend the meeting late October when everyone was Greentown and you presented the plan for Greentown. There were a lot of good ideas raised by the Greentown staff and the Woodland librarians, right? And it was all very well received. I think it looks really good.
Are the neighbors aware of this?
Mm-hmm.
And they're happy with it, I would hope.
We've only had one neighbor, and it's interesting, she's the one who lives the furthest away. And the only thing she's concerned about is noise, the kids making noise.
It's a happy noise. Well, I think it's a beautiful rendition.
Thank you.
And fingers are crossed.
Thank you for all your work on this
Oh.
too.
Yes, absolutely. You've spent a lot of time on this.
You did.
So I have clarifying questions. Thank you so much. This is a great presentation. And not all my questions have answers, but what determines the split between what's Greentown and the library? And you?
Well, when we first plotted this out, we had a 900 square foot. We just made a square and put it there. When Greentown, when I found out Greentown was involved, I got a hold of them and they already had a drawing of what they wanted to do. So we just kind of worked together. We thought, well, based on what they wanted to do, it made more sense for us to do a rectangle along the back than a square kind of out in the middle. So we just worked with them and said, what about redoing it this way? And that's kind of how we decided to do it this way.
A question about, I have a question about inclement weather. Meaning, do you think there's enough shelter in the back, for the patio? You know, as we know kids come, right, and use it. Will it be okay in bad weather? Do you see people? I'm just asking.
I don't think people will be out there in a
Rain.
rainstorm, no.
No.
You know, I don't, I think, I don't think people will sit out there in the rain. I think our biggest concern is the sun and having enough shade.
And the staff will be responsible for the shape, for like the positioning and.
No,
The
the
setup.
staff isn't responsible for, it's a city, it'll belong to the city like it does now,
Okay,
you know?
Cool.
And I think the city, the library, we're building a storage, I hate to use the word shed, because it's gonna be so pretty. Well, we're a storage building, how's that? We are building a storage building out there for the library so that they will take responsibility for the games. The games will belong to the library, and those can be locked up, or, you know, they can put whatever they want to out in this storage shed, but, it'll be like, it'll be a city property.
sorry, I have a lot of clarifying questions,
No problem.
but where do you enter the patio from inside the library? Remind me, is there a door in
There's
the
a
back?
back door.
There is a door in the back, okay.
So, if you go back, could you go to like, maybe, I think it's the second or third slide? The existing patio.
That one.
Okay, right, right to the right of the picnic tables, on the left side, there's a door. I can't see very well on that one.
It's not there.
It's right.
Maybe it's right.
Yeah, I think it's there.
Right there.
I've been there before,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a door now, and that's the only access to the patio from the inside of the library. You can, you know where we want to put the archway, there is that.
Yeah.
Dirt path, yeah.
Around there. Are we looking, and again, it's not saying do it, but are you looking at improving that egress ingress?
From
As
the
part of this
library?
plan? No.
We're basically not touching the existing.
Not touching the
patio.
walls. Okay,
Well, no, we're not doing anything with the existing patio. We're just expanding out into the weed patch.
now now's another clarifying question. Why not? Why wouldn't you go ahead and do something with the existing patio while you have the chance? I'm just asking, that's all.
There's really nothing wrong with the existing patio. There's, you know, I mean, it's got very nice pavers. There is a big redwood tree. Like, there's a big redwood tree, you know, like coming out this way from where the patio tables are, which we had the arborist take a look at to see if it was healthy, did it need to go? And if it had been torn down or taken out, we had thought maybe we would pave, you know, put more pavement, but it's in fine shape, and all it needed was to be trimmed. So we don't want to touch it. We want to just leave the redwood there.
I guess I didn't mean change the patio so much as are doing a makeover, like for instance, of the tables, are there more games that could go in? And actually, my last clarifying question is, you're obviously looking at this for the games that are gonna be out there, put out, right? The Jenga game, that you showed. I assume, will there be things like chess, checkers? If there's
Well,
any.
there are now. I mean, they built 2 chess, nice tables that are like about this.
So those will remain.
Those will stay.
Okay.
And there's, you know, they could be used for chess or checkers.
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
Anyway, that, the last item, which you may get, questions on, is the artificial turf. And I saw a dog, like, barking by the entrance in some of the architectural drawings. Is there gonna be any, restrictions on pets?
Well, I don't know if, so it's open, it's not going to be locked down. And so people can, I'm sure, bring their pets back there if they want to. And one of the things is you can wash off artificial turf and clean it.
Yeah. Anyway, that,
And I'm not sure, what the Greentown people's feelings are about that question.
it's just a clarifying thing that I just saw and I was just wondering about. But overall, I love this. This is great, great work. I think this is gonna be a great project.
I think this is great. Thank you so much for working on this. This is beautiful. I always thought that every time I walked into this place, I was like, there's so much opportunity here. It's like, it felt like a wasted space because it could be something nice. So I am really looking forward to seeing this.
Thank you.
I do have some question or maybe some asked. In the area where you were showing the kids playing, if you can show the picture. I just wanted to make sure that I do see like blocks and stuff like that. I just wanted to make sure that it's like child safe, if it drops on the floor or, on the ground. I don't know how big that is, but,
Can you speak to that?
Like the
Because-
Jenga, you're talking about the Jenga? We could look into that. Yeah, I don't know, I haven't experienced it personally, but that's something.
oh, thank
Yeah.
you. I've seen when I see like big blocks like on the ground and I think it was Los Altos, it was like a soft material. I just wanted to make sure that it's kind of like soft material because like it looks, kind of full there. If something drops on like a little kid, it's just, I just feel a little bit. Same with like umbrellas and things too, like just wanted to make sure because it's gonna be
It will have to
removable.
be very heavy. So
Yeah,
that-
exactly.
Yeah.
Cause I had an umbrella outside at my house where the wind.
Yeah, and I don't want it to be, we're also very concerned that it's not an umbrella that kids can move.
Exactly, yes,
Yeah.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, that's great.
As far as the Jenga, I will admit, it's been 1,000 years since I've ever played with something like that. And I think those are depicted as wood, so they might
Yes.
be heavy.
Yes.
So we will look into what Jenga substitutes. There may be, I don't know, plastic or foam, or I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
some
something,
options, yeah.
something kind of squishy or, not sharp and not heavy, because some little kids might get hurt, so. And then parking is on this, I'm just trying to think.
Yes, parking.
Yes,
Okay.
if you can remind me,
Parking is, maybe if you could go to the front.
I'm just trying to.
Oh, well, okay, parking is
Oh, this side, okay, great, okay,
there.
so
on
it's
the
safe
front.
for the kids and stuff, okay.
Yeah.
Just
Parking
wanted
is-
to make
Yeah,
sure.
there's
I
no
understand.
parking around. As a matter of fact, the only way. So you see over here where the archway is gonna be, that's one entrance into this area, and then the other is through the library at the very back, the
Mhm.
back door. And the parking is this way.
Mhm.
Along the front of the, perpendicular to
That's right,
Vermont.
yeah, that's
Or
right.
Grant,
because it's
that's
pretty
Grant,
rough,
yeah.
yeah, okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Not for parallel to.
And then another question I have is there like a water refill station or anything?
What?
Water refill station?
Yes,
Okay.
we are doing what's called a hydration station. Yes.
Great, because that'll be, nice to have, I think,
Yeah.
without summer.
Thank you, this looks great. There was a question about go back to the one you were on, I think it's number 10. There was a question about, there was a comment that somebody brought up the kids and the sound. We currently have complaints about noise, right?
We have complaints about noise inside the library
Inside the library.
because the kids make a lot of noise inside the library, and it's very interesting that my very first event as a library commissioner was at Grant Park, and I was inundated by the people who frequent this library saying do something about the Woodland Library. It's so noisy.
Mhm.
We can't work there, we can't study there, we can't read there.
Mhm.
And so this entire project, all these many years later, is the culmination of trying to find a solution for the noise inside the library.
Inside, like, yeah. Well, and I was, cause I do think I heard at one point that there was some concerns about noise outside the library with the kids, but I thought this, this rendering was interesting because from my perspective, it creates a lot of, I think, sound muffling with the trees in the back and sort of the ground covering. So I think, I mean, if somebody is
Well,
concerned, I think this
there's-
might help.
It may be, but I will say, I doubt seriously that there have been any kids out there in this. Because it has been, I mean, a really bad weed patch, I mean, big,
Yeah.
tall. And they're, the kind of weeds that are not, they're, I don't know what kind of weed they are, but it's almost like straw, you know, it's
Mm,
hard,
okay.
it's not pleasant.
Not-
So, and there's a lot of big oleanders out there, which
Yeah.
are toxic. And so I would be surprised if there were comments about kids, unless they're just, the kids are on the patio. The St. Simon kids have told me that they run from school to get there because there's the only one picnic table.
Right.
And so, and they like being out there, and maybe they do make noise. But, this lady whose house is all the way down, in the far right-hand corner down here, she was the only one who raised a concern about if we make a nice place for the kids, that they'll make noise. They'll be outside and then make noise. So it's a perspective concern.
Okay, like I said, it looks to me like at least there's some buffer with all of that foliage. And then going forward, is it the city that is going to be responsible for continued maintenance? Because I've seen some of those parks fall into disrepair.
It's the city, and then Greentown will, of course, be maintaining their plant. They want to make this an active teaching garden where, they want to show kids, lose my, pollinators. And they want, so what we're trying to concentrate on are butterflies, because we don't want wasps. So, you'll see like butterflies are on the arch, and wanted to do a butterfly, bike racks and stuff, but that's, they wanna use this and do active garden teaching, and a lot of, they wanna have like a little greenhouse where the kids can go in there and plant their things and watch them grow. And, you know, and see the butterflies in their cocoons and stuff like that. So, I mean, they really plan to have a lot going on back there, so they'll be maintaining, you know, the native garden one.
So they'll be heavily involved.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they have big plans for this.
I did just want to note that as this process continues and gets fine tuned, we are always acutely aware of maintenance, and so we'll try and make sure that it's as easy to maintain as possible, so then we can make sure that it looks great all the time, so.
Thank you so
I do
much.
want to give kudos to the city though, because with Loveland, I have patrons and staff who will, record issues outdoor, and as soon as they report it to the city, they do take care of it.
Okay.
So, it's been quick, and so I'm very pleased.
So.
Yeah.
We're being recorded, right? Thank you.
Last question is, when is the timing of this?
Well, we have a contract with the landscape architect to do, we just signed that, to do all of the planning, the drawings and et cetera. This project should go, I hope, really quickly, because it is as Nick Zorn, said, this is really a landscape project. We're not building.
That's true, yes.
So, I think, we hope to have the construction ready drawings as soon as possible. There's the big issue that we're doing now is the topography and the drainage, figuring all that out. And then I think once that's all figured out, it should not be, then it'll go to the city. And the city will do an RFP to have contractors actually bid on creating the site preparation. So one of the things that will need to be done, although we're trying to, obviously we'll do our part of it, we'll pay for our stuff, Greentown will pay for their stuff, but when you look at the site and you understand what needs to be done, the site needs to be cleared and prepped. And Greentown can't do anything until we get all of our stuff done, okay? It has to be, all the decomposed ground has to be put down. There will be pavers put down to go around our part, but they're going to be they're not going to be raised, okay? And they'll just be, so they kind of match the pavers in the existing patio. All of that heavy equipment and stuff has to be done, and we have to grade the entire site, okay? And then we'll do ours, and then, Greentown relies on volunteer labor to do most of their stuff, okay? And and donations of plants and trees and dirt and whatever. We hope definitely to have this done in this year, in 2025.
That's exciting.
Right?
Can I ask you a crazy question though? Is this require CEQA or anything like that?
Once there are plans, we'll better understand what exactly the next steps are. So at this point, it's conceptual drawings, and once those plans exist and the city sees them, then it'll go through the necessary processes.
Okay.
So thank you very much. Oh, I know. Yeah, thank you very much, Freddie. This was a great presentation, and at this time, we'd like to take public comment. If we have somebody public comment on the agenda item. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, just stand back here. Hello again. When the law representative said the city and Greentown would be responsible for the maintenance and the establishment.
Could you talk more
I
into
said,
the
but the
mic?
law representative said that the city, quote unquote, and Greentown will be responsible for the maintenance. I've got some questions. I've got a lot of experience with getting native gardens established that are for pollinators and blooming flowers. It takes nearly daily weeding for the first 2 to 3 years. I know Greentown is very good, they've done a lot of projects. However, also a tremendous amount of experience with volunteer organizations of all sorts, national down to local. For every 100 volunteers you have, maybe 30 will show up. When you really need them, when it's inconvenient, maybe raining or all that, at best 10, at best. So I am concerned that you should be aware when you go into this, if the city is responsible for maintenance and Greentown isn't able to do a lion's share, is it this library budget, the park and rec budget, in which case this should go through park and rec also, or the city manager's discretionary budget? Because I could just, so many of these native gardens I see, people have these great ideas, and after 1 or 2 years, it looks like, well, it just doesn't look good, and it doesn't remain good, because they do require a tremendous amount of care. By about year 4 or 5, if you've done it right, you don't have to do so much weeding and care, but those first couple of years, it's intense. And I've worked with professionals on this too, and volunteers and homeowners. So anyway, but it's very interesting, and good luck with it.
Thank you for your comment. So at this point, I'd like to open up the discussion to the commission. And, I think we want to do a motion, you know, whatever motion we take, this is an action for consideration. I would definitely, you know, I'll start off, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you do not need to take a motion. This is just feedback, so you can have it be a feedback item. What you can, I'm not sure what action, but just letting you know, you can.
Well, okay, so I'll start off, but whatever motion, whether we take a motion or not, this is a great project. And it's good to see it gone this far from, you know, I still have a photo of you and Nisa up at the board when this was first proposed, and I know Carol did a tremendous amount of work on this. And it's just good stuff. It really opens up services, right? More people will use it, and that's what we're all about, is to be inclusive as opposed to exclusive. And it's a beautiful property. I like the design, though I personally, I'd shrink Greentown, but you know, what do I know? I'd make it more library, but thank you for presenting, and that's my feedback.
Feedback?
Well, it's an appropriate time to say I don't really understand the issue with weeds. I thought I'm sorry, if you mulch, doesn't that take care of the weeds?
Oh,
Is that not,
for the, you know, I'm not
you don't know? Okay.
the spokesperson for Greentown, but I know if you take a look at what they have out there now,
Hmm.
it's beautiful. And, you know, I go out there all the time. It's been from when the Boy Scouts first planted it, and it was just the front of that berm. They did a great job. It looks great now. They take pride in that area. They've done a great job. And so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They have hired a person who is very knowledgeable, and she's a professional landscape architect who specializes in native plants. And she's already been out there. Nikki, you met Nikki. Yeah.
Yes.
And she's been out there saying, and this is coming back, we're doing this, you know, I'm very willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to do a great job. They've done a great job in the past. I've seen no reason to cast doubt on their follow through.
Well, I really look forward to seeing this project move forward.
Thank you.
I agree with Christine, totally.
I'm looking forward to it too. I think it will make the library very attractive, so.
I think you have enthusiastic support from the library commission, so I think, in summary.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. So with that, we're gonna move on to the next item. And that is recognize outgoing NCLA board member Cindy Hill. You know, I think what we were gonna do in this item is just really more a testimonial type thing, right? Hopefully we have refreshments after the meeting's over that you'll join us for.
Thank you.
And everyone's welcome to stick around, but myself, Cindy, I first met you when I just started getting involved in the library and showing up at meetings as part of your public. And you've been the real strength throughout the entire movement of the library across all organizations. You've kept it going. You're the master. You know, the rest of us are just amateurs. So I really, really appreciate the time you've given, not only for the NCLA board, but also all the other areas as we move forward, making the library better for our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you. This is quite an honor. I appreciate it.
But we're not done.
There's more than enough.
Yeah, so I want to echo what Pierre said, and I think I was the one who raised the issue that we do this, and I thought that the biggest challenge for us would be to actually compile all that you've done for the library. I just don't know that, you know, that would be an easy task. When Pierre and I were working on the the proposed redesign, your name was all over pretty much every document we touched. And so it shows your commitment. I mean, you are a librarian, right? It just shows your passion for this. And so personally, I can't thank you enough. You were the one who got me on this commission. I can blame you for that, no. But no, so I just really appreciate your passion and thank you so much for everything that you've done, which again, I just don't think we can easily quantify. And I don't think people understand how significant of an impact you've made on our library. Thank you.
You may not all know, but Cindy is also volunteering with Friends now. Helping with donations, lugging around boxes of books. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, and she has to listen to me.
Yeah.
Cause I'm there too. But anyway, yeah, again, we just wanted this as an agenda item, just to bring you in here so you'll finish the cake.
Yeah.
But thank you. Should we take public comment on this? No.
There we go. I think Fred.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
You got it, right?
And, as you know, Cindy is also a member of the board of Lolly. She's been the past president for 3 years. She has, and I followed her as president of Lolly, and I have to say, she is an invaluable resource. She knows so much. She has such great ideas. So she's really an invaluable asset to this community and its libraries. So thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. Any other public comments or? No? All right, so now we'll move on to item number 3, discuss joint meeting with city council and commission work plan. And I believe for this item, we do have a presentation, right? Or we do have a slide.
Sure, I just wanted to let you all know, it's in the staff report, that the joint meeting with the city council for the library commission will be February 11th. So it'll be the first meeting of February, so mark your calendars now. I will be sending out the exact time, but it'll be the joint meeting where you'll be going over your work plan. And just as a note for reference, the October 3rd meeting of last year, you did adopt the work plan, but I wanted to bring it back in preparation for that meeting. So if there are any amended changes, we can do that tonight. So I'll bring it up on the screen and then we can go through and I can answer questions. We can make edits, anything the commission would like to discuss. But just know that this work plan will be kind of the basis of conversation with city council at that meeting. So you'll walk through kind of what the year looks like for workload items that you're going to focus on. And then the only other part of here I did want to say is that this work plan is a template that all the other commissions have. So all commissions will be coming forward with the same documents. I know in previous years, some commissions have come with bigger documents and some with smaller, but this year they're all going to be uniform in the same document.
Commissioners, do you have any clarifying questions as to the chore here?
Do you have a sense of the date?
For the meeting,
Yeah,
February 11th.
okay.
It'll
Thank you.
be the second Tuesday of February.
And it's in the evening, right?
Yes, I anticipate that we will be probably somewhere between 6 to 8:30, somewhere in that range. Once I know an exact time, I'll send it out right away. I'll actually send a calendar hold for all of you tonight.
Is it not? I mean,
You'll send a calendar hold?
I'll send a calendar hold.
But I wouldn't put it on. Thank you.
I was only gonna add, if it's during the, is it during a city council day?
Yes.
So it's probably before 7 usually, right? Or would they actually use the meeting?
TBD.
Okay,
That's why I'm giving
lot
you
of
a
time,
bit
yeah.
of range.
so a lot of times they ask us to come in early.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'll send a calendar hold from maybe 6 to 9, but it'll be only a snippet within there.
Okay, so any comments?
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
There's public comment.
Oh. Well, clarifying questions as to the chore here. No,
To this? or
Yeah. just to the
That's-
task at hand.
Here.
If
Yeah.
you wanna discuss changes, you can wait till discussion. If you have hypothetically questions for me about the document, I can answer them, or I can answer them in discussion as well. It's up to you.
So, do we have any public comments on the work plan?
Oh, yeah. I looked at the work plan and I didn't see anything that was really focused on what's happening around the main library at the Civic Center. There's about almost $10 million worth of projects going on. All of them were done with no design review in the public except for a quick pass with Park and Rec with the dog park parking mitigation issues last summer. So $10 million, all staff discretion on design and plans. Plans are not available in public unless you get public records. I did public records, so I've got floor plans and elevations for stuff. And this does seriously impact the experience of patrons of the main library because looking out the windows, they're going to be seeing by May, the Los Altos Youth Center is being turned into private offices for city staff with high fences, big utility yard, lot of trees, several rows have dug out with no public thing. It was just a deal made with city staff and the library behind closed, not the library, museum behind closed doors. Again, no public comment on that. There's also city staff is on record at various meetings over last summer wanting to pave over a lot of the orchard to add more parking by the playground, which would of course be visible from the reading room and main library. On some of the library existing landscape near the Smith House, also where they didn't allow irrigation to go in for trees between the library and the Los Altos Youth Center, as well as taking all the frontage land and the tree sites that are by the Friends of the Library sheds, insisting the sheds will be okay, but again, it's gonna make it difficult to get in and out, of course, take out more trees at a state resource. There is still time for your commission to weigh in on this on your work plan. You've got several items that have to do with various improvements, which would include impacts to your views and to your existing landscape and stuff. I urge you to do that. It's very concerning to me and a lot of other people that city staff has been spending now, again, 10 million, doing these things with no public input, or just allowing staff discretion on where the parking is. Oh, another parking place is city staff wants to take up all the lawn of the police department to have reserved space for their staff and the private offices in Lacey. And I know parking is a big issue for the library people, and I think you should be briefed by staff on all these projects, nearly 10 million of them, and be able to weigh in on where you'd like to see some of this parking mitigation for all these projects that they're doing, because it does impact your parking at the main library. And that's basically it, but thank you very much. And I need to just be somebody here, complaining and all that. There's a different group back there, so thank you.
Thank you. It's important to get public comment. We can't really react to it all the time right away, but it's always important to hear and to take into account into our work. I can kick it off if you guys want me to, because I have changes that I'd like to see. In the improve infrastructure site, improvements to main library building, I want to make sure that this commission takes a lead on the RFP, the remodel RFP somehow. As to being the point people, we went through, we did the RFP. It'd be nice if there was some participation of the commission, be it an ad hoc subcommittee, being a member who was part of the team, if only just to observe. I'm not even saying a voting member, but if we are the portal for the public. And anyway, for feedback, I can send this to you in writing. But that's, you know, the first item on improved infrastructure, that's my comment. I don't know if anybody else has any.
I did want to make a note that city staff does plan to use the library commission as a forum for feedback from the public as well as the library commission as the process goes on.
Well,
So,
there's an expectation, at least from some folks I've talked to, that it does come through us in that manner, at least in terms of getting the feedback from the public to make sure that it's considered as we move forward with this. So I just want to make it more specific in the work plan, that's all.
And we can change the language here.
And I don't know how you guys feel about that, Julie. You,
Yeah, I'm supportive.
okay. Say,
I'm supportive.
Michelle.
I'm supportive.
I support it.
Agree, thank you.
Thumbs up if you want.
All right, that was easy. Okay, I'll go with the next one. On improved services. And I'm not, we need to work better with Lolly. Because a lot of the research of the new services, the programs, it really, I attended one Lolly meeting, and it's something that, you know, Lolly has taken up also in doing stuff. And I think we don't want to lose the fact that a lot of ideas and initiative has come out of this group that, you know, eventually. So it's more of a, and I'm just, that's more of a note that we need to make sure we keep there. It's only a comment more than anything. I don't know what you change. But it goes also to the next one where we go into targeted research or targeted outreach. I envy Lolly because of your mailing list. And you have of all the way to reach library users, I think, in our district, you probably have the best methodology. We need to team better with you somehow. You've hired somebody for marketing. There's just things we can do. And I don't, it has to do with, yes, we have a mission to explore targeted outreach, but it's not just us. That's my point. It's, we need to really get more people involved and recognize the channels of communication that are out there, be it the library, be it Lolly, and really work together with those groups to make it better. That's my only, because I look at this, and if we try to do it all alone, it ain't gonna happen. It just, there's 5 of us.
I like what you said there. He said in collaboration with partner organizations, so that takes into account Lolly, Friends, the county. I think that makes sense.
I'm trying to incorporate the feedback.
Okay.
What's that?
I was just gonna say for Explore Targeted Outreach project, so we've done a big work last year on creating a list, and I know that library staff, we collaborated with the library staff, and they went to some of the events in new places. So I just wanted to clarify, this is also kind of updating that list as well, is that how I should interpret?
So it can be a different group if you'd like to shift. So I believe last year it was on youth.
Yes.
And so this year, maybe you could do targeted outreach to seniors.
Mhm.
So there could be an opportunity to take this item and run towards the senior side of it. And then I think to Chair Bedard's point, you can work on general public outreach as well. So making sure that the commission's doing targeted outreach, utilizing these other partner organizations maybe to say, how can we collaborate moving forward?
That makes sense.
Do we want to say and or general public, just because if we're not going to, not that we have to do it, I'm just saying if we did youth and now we're looking at some of the others, just giving us the flexibility.
Do you
That's a good one.
wanna,
Should we be reporting on what we achieved last year in this area? Or is this just, because I'm seeing,
this
Yes.
is, kind of forward facing.
Okay, just I'm seeing some of it is referring to last year, okay.
I think the challenge is it's kind of chicken or the egg, right?
I feel like then explore, maybe youth is kind of, we've done that, right, kind of?
Well, it wasn't entirely youth, it was sort of youth and
And we have seniors.
mostly youth. We had seniors in there
We have
too,
seniors
yeah,
in there
yeah,
already too.
yeah.
Actually, yeah, I remember that, because you created the senior list and I did the youth list.
Oh, yeah.
And you can leave it like this and then discuss how you'd like to enact it as far as maybe, I'll get to it later, but focusing a group to look at certain aspects and working together on it.
It does say in progress. Right?
I think it's
something-
because, yeah, we have the list, so it's about potentially updating the list. Right.
We no longer have an ad hoc committee working on this, right?
If there's anything new to explore, like you were saying, like maybe exploring with the partner organization, that's additional, so.
Well, yes,
Yeah, so it is in progress in terms of it was kind of done, but then there's more to do, I guess, is. Maybe.
anybody else have anything to say on the Explorer targeted? You guys okay? Yeah?
Well, I'm not really understanding, we don't exactly have, sorry, I'm not really understanding this because we had an ad hoc subcommittee and we disbanded it. And who's actually working on this right now?
So the way I think this was envisioned when it was put in there is that you could start looking at targeted outreach to different groups later in the year. So
Okay.
this is the work plan for the whole year, so you don't need to be doing everything at. You're only so many people, so recognizing that there are different priorities, so this could be something that you talk about later in the year, saying, based upon this year of review where Rose's team did this outreach, what can we glean from that and adjust moving forward? So.
Yes, in many cases, much of this is aspirational. You try to, I mean, it's amazing we've achieved as much as we have in many ways. I'm just throwing that out there, opposed to other commissions that might be out there that I won't name. But we've had a crisp list and we've been executing against it fairly well. Improve the commission's presence is the next one. We have a report on that
Yes.
from our subcommittee. And then the community events at library, we don't have a report on it per se, but I do believe we're gonna talk about it some.
I wanted to say, I see the headphone right there, Rose. So I'm just wondering, I know it's a pilot, do we need to put it in here?
It's in your calendar for
Oh.
March. I was actually
Okay.
targeting, I think you guys said, I can't remember, 6 months, I think. So in March, I was actually gonna talk with Rose about having a presentation on how it's been going, and then you guys can determine if you want to make any changes, suggest any changes, so.
So do we need to have it in the list as a work, or, because we are working on it?
I
You
think
don't
it's-
necessarily, I mean, it would go under research new services.
Okay,
So
okay,
it would
that
be
makes
more,
sense,
you'd want
okay.
more of a cap.
It's, yeah, that makes sense, okay. New services programs, yeah, programs maybe.
And it's right here, through commission where county purchased 6 sensory
Oh,
headsets.
thank you, sorry, I missed that note. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
Okay, great,
It's in both pages.
yeah, makes sense.
And then going down, the only other one, attending the meetings for external community organizations. I know we, we should have a discussion at some point. It's not necessary here, but in terms of whether we're all happy going to the meetings we go to. That's all, and we don't need to do that right now. I think we have another presentation coming up on that. But the last thing that to me wasn't there, which I don't know how to get it there, is what does the council want from us? And I know you can't just put that on, whatever else you want, but a big thing about this meeting is to really make sure that they like what we're doing, but also what else do they want from us? And we work to this plan in our 5 meetings.
And I think when you go to the meeting, I maybe wouldn't pose it like that. I would say, here's all the things we've done and we plan to do this coming year. What adjustments do you envision for the commission? Because they approved of this, kind of this template last year, and so I think I wouldn't necessarily expect it to be so open-ended that they're gonna come out with.
I didn't mean it quite that way. I'm just, with some of these, well, excuse me. Some of the city council members may have something in the back of their heads that they were thinking about tasking us with that we had no idea. That happens. I've seen it happen, that's all. So are there any other comments, or is everybody happy with this for going to the council? Because if we're not, I don't wanna threaten. But if we need to have another meeting between now and February to discuss this, we can, though I think we're generally in agreement.
Yeah, I think it's good, personally.
Do we need to have a motion?
Motion to amend the,
So I move we amend, our work plan. Any seconds?
Chair Bedard,
Aye.
Vice Chair Morris, Commissioner Crane,
Yes.
Commissioner Carter, Commissioner Fawcett.
Yes.
And motion carries.
Excellent, okay. Now, we are going to discuss the commission presence, and we have a report.
I'll pull it, you want me to pull it up?
Sure. I don't know that we'll go through each and every item because I think there's a lot. But we put together a document, and this is the, we wanted to discuss commission presence. This is myself and Commissioner Morris.
Not showing on the screen.
Yeah.
I'm going. I have too many documents.
Yeah, so, and I have it up on my computer too, so as you scroll through, we put together a number of sections. So for example, one of the first one is greater commission visibility at the library. I actually took that picture at the Cupertino Library and it shows the commissioners along with some additional information. And while I'm not a big fan of my picture being up there, I do think, having a picture of the commission just to educate people that we exist, and you'll see there's some other recommendations in terms of what we do, could be good at attracting people who may feel that they could, do good work on this commission. So it was just, that one was simply letting people know about this. In addition, Cupertino includes library commission biographies, if you scroll to the next page on their website. And so we explain there why we think that could be helpful. It fosters transparency, accountability, and a personal connection with the community. Seeing the faces behind decision-making humanizes the commission, making it more approachable and relatable to residents. So just trying to increase our presence. Recognition of the commission's work. And so we listed some of the things that the commission brought. I use the term brought into being, including the curbside drop-off. I remember that very vividly because we had one commissioner present that idea. It was not well received. She resigned. And I picked it up and we brought it back and it was adopted. And so, but I don't know that there's a record of, I know that because I live that, but I'm not sure that people see that. The noise canceling headphones and NCLA funds for county strategic initiatives. So there is no visible placard acknowledging the work of the commission with respect to these projects. It doesn't need to be a placard, but somehow showing that we've done good work. And it's really also to let people know that this is a commission worth being a part of because we do make positive contributions, we think, to our community. And so I think people seeing this may attract more people to the commission. We talk about yearly summaries of commission achievements. I think that's interesting because every year we talk about our work plan, but we don't take a moment to look back and see everything that we have accomplished in the past year. And I think that would be a very effective tool to not only inform the public, but also remember ourselves what we've done. And I put some examples of things that we did, successfully transition to a 5-member board as an example. Then participation by commissioner members in library events. I think, here's a commissioner who's here reading to the children or doing something else. Again, I just think it lets people know that there is a commission, and that it raises our visibility. And that's hopefully, and again, this is not for us to feel better about ourselves. I think we do good work, but I think it shows the commission, it raises the visibility of the commission. We have some other ones, engaging with residents to understand their needs, a feedback box and digital option, real-time and ongoing recognition. And let me hand it over to Commissioner Morris to talk about the real-time and ongoing recognition.
So I was thinking that we should have a branding, supported by the Library Commission or brought to you by Library Commission. For example, with the curbside drop-off service, right? It could be that kind of signature. Every time we do something, there might be a signature that we can have. I thought that might be an interesting thing to do. Do you have any question on that one? I just wanted to make sure that that's clear, that part. And then social media shout outs. So sharing on social media, Instagram or something like that, because we do have the Instagram account. I'm not to say, but notice reducing, I know it's my project, but headphones are here, and thanks to the Library Commission for their support in making this happen. I'm not trying to praise myself, but I just wanted to kind of bring that up, something like that. This one, was it? Oh, was it me or can't remember? Yeah. Here. Yeah. So sorry. Thank you. Yeah, that'll be easier for me. Next one is public events recognition. So verbally acknowledging the commission's role during library events. So included in the slides, for example, when you have events like the events with the library folks or volunteers or any kind of events in the flyer or programs. Create, another idea was create a small rotating display within the library featuring recent events, initiatives, project, made possible by the commission, keeping these kind of accomplishment going. So it could be a dynamic display, meaning potentially digital. I don't know if with the checkout area where you have the checkout for the books, I'm not sure if you can do it there, where it shows up, it pops out. When you have to check out. I don't know if that display is flexible, but saying something like, oh, this headphone is here, brought to you by Library Commission, something like that. And then I know that this is already being done, the business cards. I've seen yours. But I thought that this was actually a good idea because it reminded me, because I don't have one. I don't know if you all have business cards, but I think it would be good to have business cards on our side. So every time individual joins the team, we should have a business card, and I think it will be good to facilitate connections. So when we are in events or community meetings, we can exchange our, give a business card or give it away. For me personally, when I went to, sell in about, having the library come to the daycare center or things like that, I know them, so they understand that I'm legitimate. But if I'm going randomly to somebody and be like, hey, I work at the Library Commission, but I don't have a name card, it just seems a little bit doesn't sound very legitimate. So I think it will be good to present yourself as a former member of the commission. So yeah. Oh, and another thing that we didn't talk about was the feedback. Was it at the bottom? Oh.
Feedback box.
Oh, the feedback box, I missed that one, sorry. You didn't know about it yet, right?
I think I mentioned it.
Okay. Oh, okay. The feedback box and digital option, this one is So having like a feedback box for public to drop in, so like written version of the feedback box. I heard that this used to exist, right? Or I've seen it for Lolly, I think, or something. Did you have a feedback box before? I thought that I saw it somewhere,
Friends.
oh, Friends, it was Friends, I'm sorry. And then I thought that this could be also done digitally as well, so we can leave like a QR code and then, you know, somebody can take a picture of the QR code, not take a picture, but like if you go to the camera, you can click on the link and then somebody can leave a comment and it'll come through to us so that we can get some public feedback. And then that means that we can, you know, directly, you know, maybe obligate that and, you know, work on those things. And that will actually like work towards our presence too. Did I miss anything?
No.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm just referring back to my list here. And are there any clarifying questions by anyone on the commission? I mean, there's a lot of items here.
Sorry, I went by fast.
No, not at all.
Didn't the library recently do a survey that should, perhaps that's what we should be, I mean, this is nice, but if you've done a survey, then we could be working directly from that, huh?
So we have a number of feedback loops. We did just complete our triannual survey. We also are in the midst of a program survey. I hope you've seen the QR codes out. So there are certainly many ways that we are soliciting input from patrons, from the community. So we absolutely have those, and Rose and her team, we look at those by library, and of course we do that district wide. So I think all of these ideas have been implemented in different ways throughout obviously our library district. So I think Rose and I can take this feedback and explore maybe some options for her team on how we can, first off, you know, together acknowledge services and how those come about, and your ideas, bringing them back and kind of working with the public to get that information out there. And like you said, encourage others to be involved with it. So we can certainly, I know Rose and maybe Pierre or someone or one of you, maybe we can kind of deep dive into some of these, and with the district, we can also overlay that and move that forward. Taking a picture is, I'm sure, very simple, right, Anthony? So I'm sure we can find a place on the wall.
Well, and I think we can, I mean, it's up to the library staff, but I think there's a way, as I'm hearing you present all these items, create basically a section of a wall that could be for a picture. Maybe have I'm thinking a QR code that automatically sends an email to the library commission at losaltosca.gov. So it's rather that there's a feedback loop for staff, but then if people want to just send something directly to the commission, it goes to you guys. And then we could even, I think, like post things that the commission's working on. And I think, you know, it can be a highlight section of like the latest projects, you know, especially I'm thinking for social media shout outs, just so you know, obviously, as we're talking about the main library improvements project, when we're doing that, I'm sure I'll tell you that you're going to be very heavily advertised on the city's social media, as well as the library district, letting people know when there's going to be opportunities for those feedback sessions, which will be happening at the library commission and then also just at the library. So, I mean, it sounds like there's some, I think, a way to take a lot of these items and kind of package it.
My other just brief comment was, you know, I love all these ideas, but rotating displays and a box for commission feedback, and it's my impression that space is really at a premium in the library, and I really hate to put pressure on Rose and her staff to find more space for us.
I think there's a way we can find space, especially for, I think the presentation, when I first read it, the big thing that came through is really ensuring that the commission is recognized for the good work that you guys are doing. So I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure that that's done. And I know that city staff and county staff recognize that, but we should make sure that the public does as well.
I think the big goal is for the public, oh, sorry. One of the another big goal for the public to understand is like, by knowing what we do, it might attract people to come into the commission too, because I think a lot of people don't know what the commission does.
Yeah.
And then also it will attract people to kind of make comments to us too, because they don't know what we do, so they don't even know what to say to us, right? So.
And I think we can find a way to communicate that, or it can be a project of the commission, I think in partnership with county staff, to find a way to do that.
Everybody knows that we provide city council candidates. Anyway.
And to think about the space issue, I think the QR code would work, right? Like just the QR code for the feedback, that shouldn't take that much space. Oh, if you want to put the QR code back on the business card, that could be another way.
Okay, are there any other clarifying questions? Good, then we want to go for public feedback. Do we have any public feedback? No. Okay. Let's discuss. So I'll start. I love the report. I've got some minor editorial stuff I can send you. Which you know already. I think it needs another cut. Talking about each one and sort of looking at what's realistic. I mean, a couple things came up with the feedback box. We got a friends box, we got a library box, there's other ways of doing it. I'm really disappointed with the city. I gotta be blunt. The city doesn't have any kind of method to put up public information in a really good, easy way on the website. It's a pain. It's a pain for us. I can't even imagine what it's like for the public. I went so far as to start my own stuff, which came in handy during the RFP process because I was able to put PDFs up there. But it's never been publicized by anybody. There's lots of great work from the commission, presentations and things of that nature there, but in all, it's the way that we have a PR director with the city. We have a webmaster ostensibly with the city. And, the web property is really not managed for the commission's performance. That's probably my biggest feedback. I think it's important to have everybody should have a business card. And you nailed it. Recruiting. People, we're gonna need people, we don't live forever. We don't serve forever. And we're gonna need people to take, that understand the library system and how we work in Los Altos because it's complex. Between Lolly, the Friends, us, the city, the county. It's, So, but thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. It was great to see it on paper. And yeah, getting my picture up after 6 years, sure, I'll believe it.
I have two things. One is that I wanted to clarify. So for example, I know this is a little hard to like a lot of stuff, but for example, as simple as, for example, it might be too late now, but like if you have a poster for the headphone, right? Like saying like, oh, here's the headphone. And then as a signature at the end, vote to you by Library Commission, something like that. That's what I meant earlier. Sorry, I didn't clarify that. So that's one. And then two is, so what will be the next step? So do we work with Rose or how do we kind of work on this? And Anthony?
I think what would be best, it sounds like there's comments from commissioners on edits and then I think meet with the county staff and then we can have a final report coming back to the Library Commission.
Well, sounds good to me.
Yeah. So I guess we can agendize it for next time and in the meantime, we can work to the things that you said. Okay, yeah. Yeah,
So now we can share the document to the commissioners. To
Public.
edit.
Everyone has it. It's,
Yeah.
it's in the agenda packet, so.
yeah, and I guess I just wanted to emphasize that the point is really to raise the visibility of the commission. So that people see what we do, what we've done, and the contributions that they could make, should they serve on this commission, because we can work with others, we can, rely on what they already have, but I just think, without us having a presence, and I don't think we do. I didn't know that we had this until Cindy brought it to my attention, so I just don't think we have a presence, and I do think it impacts our ability to recruit talent for this group.
I completely agree.
And it gets even more, I mean, I work with the Friends and, you bring up the commission. And it's just not a good taste. Like they shy away from it. People don't want to volunteer. Christine did. Thank God, thank God. But it takes a special sort of person to be on this commission. It's a complex job. It's public.
Yeah. I don't really have anything to add, but yeah, you are right, actually. Well, after I joined, I did get some negative feedback after I joined the commission from some of the Friends people. Some were very encouraging and very pleased to see they had a new representative on the commission, but others just seem to think the whole thing was a total waste of time.
Every time I tell someone that I'm on the commission, they say, when are we going to get a new library? So I point out that we have made an effort to encourage remodeling. And they say, but when are we going to get a new library?
Well, we're getting a new patio. In 2 locations, hopefully. And we're gonna do a remodel and get better services and longer hours of operation, which means more services.
I know.
But I mean, I know what you're saying, but we do need to be more positive. And recruit, always be recruiting. Are there any other comments?
Small comment that, I'm not a fan of taking pictures either, but please warn us beforehand, so we can be ready emotionally.
And just be emotionally.
Do we wanna schedule it for March? Since you're all here, is it okay if we tentatively say for March, be prepared for a picture? You can obviously veto it at the time if it's been a terrible hair day. But we can tentatively plan for March.
Yeah.
Just put it in my calendar.
Yeah.
Picture day.
Well, thank you very much for taking on this project. It's another, the ad hoc subcommittee system works. That's all I'll say. With that, do we need to take just a break, or should we press on here?
Your discretion. I can go quick for the committee
All right,
update.
so we'll receive item number 6, staff report, received 2025 commission update training. Oh, yes, I will.
I'll be quick. You know this presentation because it's very similar to the one we had last year. There's a few key updates that I'll just highlight as we go through the process. Library Commission updates. We should all know our powers and duties at this point of what exactly the Library Commission is chartered to do by the municipal code. Serve as principal liaison, review the program services and facilities and make recommendations based upon that. Conduct community outreach, all of this is incorporated into the work plan, so I want to say that we're doing a good job of keeping within what our powers and duties are. Serve as a forum for community output, input, and engagement. Submit an annual report to the city council, which will be done in February, and then other duties as assigned, which is my favorite task as a city employee. Each year in October, there's the election of the chair and vice chair, which you guys have done. Just a reminder that no member of the commission may serve consecutive terms as the chair. And I think you have created a new structure where the chair and vice chair work together and the vice chair will take over. Attendance and participation, just a reminder, the majority of members are required in person for a meeting to take place. If you are going to miss a meeting, please let me know at least 1 week in advance of the meeting so I can make accommodations for that meeting. Commissioners must attend 75% of regular scheduled meetings. If it is a canceled meeting, that does not impact attendance, so do not worry about that. Reporting, as you know, work plan is provided for the city council in the first quarter of each year. Really exciting because we just looked at it, so it's nothing you haven't seen before. All of this is pretty clear. Ad hoc subcommittees, I think Chair Bedard mentioned it. Ad hoc subcommittees rules were clarified this past year that they must be ad hoc and cannot be standing. They must be less than the majority of the body, and they must comply with aspects of the Brown Act, but do not require their meetings to be posted or staff support. And so they must have the specific topic and time frame, not an area of continuing jurisdiction, cannot be established over multiple years, so they can only last that 1 year. Must report the findings out, which all of our ad hoc subcommittees have done an excellent job of providing a final report to the commission, which is key. And then they can only serve on the one ad hoc subcommittee at a time, being the 5 members. And then this is more of the legal jargon about what the motion and establishment of an ad hoc subcommittee is, formally building on the previous slide. Our current ad hoc subcommittees, the Night at the Library ad hoc subcommittee and the Commission Presence in the Library ad hoc subcommittee. I anticipate that if you would like to make any changes for ad hoc subcommittees, please make it as a future agenda item for future meetings so then adjustments can be made in advance. So working pairs, this is a new slide and a new addition to this year, so I'm happy to answer questions. Unlike ad hoc subcommittees, which require formal approval, the commission may assign commissioners into working groups to research, look into topics. They can consist of 1 or 2 commissioners. It can never be 3 commissioners because that's over the majority of the commission meeting at one time. And the commission may take action on the report that's been reported back from this working pair, or they can just simply receive the information. And they are designed to allow commissions to work in a more flexible manner. As you know, there's no limit to the working pairs. I will say there's a limit to your time. So be conscious and aware that I think identifying how you can work most effectively and really dedicate time, move on to a new task, and then continue moving forward. So the difference, I like to think of it this way, ad hoc subcommittee is more formal, focused on a big project. Example is the main library improvements. The working pairs is more informal. It's a component of a plan, so you can talk about 2 individuals working on the flyer for a new feature, sponsored by the Library Commission, supported by the Library Commission, that tagline. This would be an example of a good working pairs project. Commissioner liaisons. Commissions may assign individual commissioners to act as a liaison to other boards. The full commission should always be updated in public, which you'll do during your commissioner reports. And then this position is supported by the liaison. And so these are our current liaison assignments for the Library Commission. Friends of the Los Altos Library is Pierre, Los Altos Library Endowment is Christine, and North County Library Authority is Julie. So if you would like to make any changes to the commissioner liaisons, you can also agendize this as a future topic, and you can make it to review all commissioner liaison roles, and you can review all of the roles at one time if you would.
council liaison. So the council liaison will meet with the commission chair and staff liaison once per year. Council liaisons shall not direct, guide, or influence the policy-making work of the city's advisory bodies. That means that all of you have a council liaison who would be the point person. If you do have any questions for city council, you could ask them and they'd be able to provide that insight. At the first meeting in January, or maybe the second, they will be appointing the new council liaisons for each commission. So at this point in time, I don't have the name, but as soon as I get that, we will provide that. Conflict of interest. So this is the really fun stuff on the legal language. A perceived conflict of interest for a commissioner may arise from personal relationships, financial interests, serving on bodies that have shared or overlapping subject matter as the commission, or when it appears that the commissioner's private interests impact their duty or role in decision. So if you feel that you may have a perceived conflict of interest, please let me know as the staff liaison. You must disclose perceived conflicts of interest before participating in discussions. And then the commissioner, you can always seek advice from the city attorney or the FPPC. So if you do have questions, I'm obviously your first point of contact. I am not the legal professional, so I will direct you to the city attorney if I feel like it's necessary. But I'm always here to be able to chat if you have questions about perceived conflicts of interest. And then conflict of interest as opposed to a perceived. So perceived could be not direct conflict of interest, but something that could be understood as potentially being a conflict. A true conflict of interest means that you are not allowed to engage in any activity for compensation that is inconsistent, incompatible, or in conflict with your official duties. It's ultimately your responsibility as a commissioner to make sure that you do not engage in any of these incompatible activities. And if you do feel like there was a situation where that may have been the case, I direct you to reach out to the city attorney as quickly as possible. Our city attorney is a great resource if you do have specific questions, and I can give you her contact information. And then I'm going to go through this one really quickly at a high level. CEQA is required of government agencies to consider the environmental consequences of actions before approving plans or policies or committing to a course of action on any project. Most actions taken by you as an advisory body will not qualify as CEQA project. Most of your role as an advisory body for the library will not fall into this bucket. I will say that before I bring an action for the Library Commission forward, I'll always check to make sure that it is, if there is a CEQA review, we will do that before your review. If you do have questions, please reach out to the Development Services Department, or you can just reach out to me and I can connect you directly with them. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. I know that was a lot.
Yeah.
And it's, if you do have questions afterwards, if you don't feel like asking it right now, or you think about something over the next week and you want to set up a one-on-one, I'm always happy to meet individually and answer specific questions as it comes. Is that good? Okay. All right.
That was good.
And then I'll just go into my staff report since I already have the microphone. I did want to report that the Library Commission did recommend approval of the main library improvements phase 1 contract, and the city council did, sorry, it's been a busy couple of months for me going to different meetings, but we did go to NCLA, who did recommend the award of money to the city council for the main library improvements. And then we went to city council in December, and city council recommended the acceptance of those funds and then also the contract award for the main library improvements. City staff is working with the selected consultant on finalizing the contract, and we should get going soon, which is really exciting. City staff, as I mentioned, anticipates that the Library Commission will be a key forum for this project. So we want to utilize the great knowledge and experience that we have in this room on this project. So we are working in the background. And pretty soon we will be having some more kickoff motion from the city side, getting the project underway. And we look forward to collaborating with the county and library commission to make sure that we get this project done right. So. Any questions?
No, I just want to say, and to those of us who follow city council comings and goings, the approval of the contract through the NCLA and the city council was extremely well done and incredibly timely to put us in where we are today. It exceeded my expectations. That's all it is. So thank you. With that, are we, no clarifying questions from the commissioners, I take it? And do we have any public comment on the staff report? No? Great. I mean, not great that there's no public comment, but thank you. So with that, I believe we go to the Santa Clara County Library District.
Stretch my legs there. All right, good evening, everyone. Jennifer Weeks, County Librarian for Santa Clara County Library District. Happy New Year. It's nice to be here with all of you this evening. You have a very full report from the Library District this month, and I wanted to just highlight a few things, really focused on one of our strategic priorities. Yeah, Anthony, don't try to catch up with me. It's okay. It's all there, but I'm going to do some summary, really focusing on something that I think all of you know so much, both in your heads and your hearts, is our foundation really to focus on literacy, right, in the community. And that is much more broad-reaching term, right? Then it's not about learning how to read, but it's really about lifelong learning. And we have 3 highlights in this report that I really wanted to connect with this We Inspire goal that we have. The first being the Elmwood Women's Library. So I don't know if any of you are aware that we do have a jail in Milpitas, and that is a county-run facility. So working in partnership with probation, we have opened a library on the women's side. And it has been a very enlightening project in terms of working through so many different kinds of groups and understanding the needs of the women that are there. Many of them have never been inside of a library before. Many of them have never finished a book before. And so it's really about creating this space that is educating them and giving them opportunity to think beyond. We have 3 staff working there. There are opportunities for the women to come to the library, and then our staff actually bring materials to those who are in more secure areas. So this is a new endeavor for us. It is both challenging and rewarding in lots of ways. And you've heard previously about the work that we are doing in South County in Lincoln Hill, where they have a facility for incarcerated youth, and that library has been open for almost a year. So just wanted to highlight some of that work. Storybook Santa Clara County Library District is coming. So we are renovating and adding to each of our community libraries an interactive space that is focused on children and families' opportunities for early literacy skills. It is going to be both magical and educational. We know that many children have visited the library. You have heard my story of me standing in front of the library, I think in 2021, and a 4-year-old looking up at me and saying, I remember this place. So we know that our families love the library, and we know it's a place that can be a beginning journey for education. We also know not all children are reading at grade level. Even in communities like Los Altos and Cupertino, where you may have 75% of your children reading at grade level, shouldn't 100% of your children read at grade level? And we know that the early beginnings
Those first 5 years are critical, and if we can bring families together in these wonderful spaces that will have active play, that will have letter knowledge and background knowledge opportunities, that we are going to get these little learners off to a wonderful start. It is focused on those 5 practices that our staff work with families and children on daily: talking, singing, reading, writing, and of course, playing. These will be geared for children 0 to 10. We really envision this bringing the community together in lots of wonderful ways. Rose's team is doing everything they can to mitigate kind of the construction. So we have to make it a safe place, so the children's room will actually physically close. They'll be using the orchard room. We have materials and some other things available for families. Looking forward to those patios, right? So we will continue to make sure that we have spaces available for families to access materials, and then have a grand opening celebration later this spring. And I know that Rose will be sharing more information about those programs coming up. Lastly, I hope you all have February 1st on your calendar. So that is our annual forum, and it is featuring Silicon Valley Reads author Ray Naylor. So that's Saturday starting at 9 a.m. February 1st. And we look forward to bringing together all of our supporters to hear about what's happening at the library and really to come together and see one another as well. That's my report highlights. Happy to answer any questions.
Did everyone get an email invite to the double check? I think that an email came in from county libraries. Check your email, and if you didn't,
So, coffee starts at 8:30. Yes. We feed you.
I have a question. So, when to when would the library children's area will close for the renovation?
Rose, do you have the dates?
March, yes.
I have 7 dates in my head, so.
March 4th through May 17th. The grand opening is scheduled for May 17th.
Thank you. It's exciting. Can't wait.
Well, thank you. So, if there are no questions, Rose?
Okay, thank you. So yes, your idea to add this to the flyer is definitely doable. So before you mentioned it, I think you read my mind. So we could definitely do this. So I wanted to share the flyer for the noise reducing headset. So thank you, Commissioner Morris. Really, every time I talk about this to the staff, they're really excited. And we also look forward to expanding. I know we talked about having some fidget toys, but this is what they look like. They are on the honor system, and they have just our library sticker on them. So I do want to thank the Friends for purchasing them. That's really helpful. I'm going to start my report. The first I wanted to, so shout out to our IT team. They have put together some really nice ways for us to gather data and display data. So I thought this was interesting to show from 2017 through now, 2024 of our gate count, and how, we are higher from 2017, but and the dip from COVID. But we are increasing each month. We went up 17.68% from November to December in our gate count, and it continues to increase. This is also a chart about our program attendance by month. This is kind of interesting just to look at the whole year. Look at March was, since Los Altos only, but March was our busiest for program attendance. This actually one I really thought was also interesting. If you look at Woodland specifically for library cards, 2022 is when open access was implemented. And you can see actually an increase in library cards at Woodland. So thank you to the commissioner for helping get that started for us. So I hadn't looked at the data, just at this from this perspective. And so this was something that really stood out to me. I wanted to share with all of you. some photos. This is from our
Your photos are always so good.
Oh.
They follow my dry presentations.
it's the staff. So this is real life. So this is real life stuff happening at the library from our second and third grade book club. So the children actually made these crafts based on Kiwi's tail. The next one is a teen cookie decorating in our study session. Just I think the teens really appreciated having the space, having hot chocolate, having cookies, time to study before finals in December. So that was a nice opportunity for them that our teen librarian did. This is actually from the Family Fun Day that happens here in collaboration with Parks and Rec. So this is the craft that our librarians did. And just a highlight of our children's programs, this past Sunday, actually, we had our lion dance for Lunar New Year, and it was extremely successful. We got lucky, the weather was beautiful, it was outside in the parking lot, and a great turnout, and everybody enjoyed it. We also have Maylin and the Magic Brush to celebrate Lunar New Year for children, and this is just a highlight of some of our programs. Adult programs, we will have Martin Yan, Chef Martin Yan, You Can Cook Live. He's very engaging, enthusiastic. We will have him on January 14th. So if you can make it, I think you will enjoy it. And we have on our social media some really fun reels with him. He's a fun person. Some other highlights of our programs there. And finally, I know this was introduced as part of our strategic plan. We have an update that we do have now portable chargers for checkout in the library. They are part of our laptop kiosk, and you can check them out with the library card for in-library use only, and you can charge your devices. You can use them wirelessly or with a cable. And so we are going to be continue to promote this program, assessing the usage, and we are piloting at Los Altos, so we hope to expand it to other areas. Any questions?
I was just gonna say, I tried the laptop batteries. It worked.
Oh, good.
That's all.
You kind of paused there.
We're expecting
You
people
know,
to
I try stuff when it rolls out and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah,
So the
maybe we can
laptop-
feedback,
Yeah, and so, but it worked. It's
That's
actually
great.
quite good, and it takes care of a lot of the issues if somebody needs to hook up.
Yeah, that's good.
And this came out of, several needs assessments, highlighting that the library does not, because of the infrastructure, we do not have enough electrical, and I knew you guys, something you were putting.
Yeah.
So, we're hoping, yes, right, yeah, so we're hoping this is maybe for a little bit.
Another question, because I'm full of questions, but is it gonna impact programs, the remodel?
It will, because the orchard room will be closed. However, I am actually working with the city to see if we can move programs here. And
Yes,
so
that
the
would
city
be
has been
so
very-
awesome.
Yeah, so we have a great partnership, and so.
I was gonna say that we'll work as best we can with the library.
Thank you.
That's excellent. Good, because those are so well attended.
Right.
I mean, that's why we need more parking.
Any other questions?
Are there any public comments or questions or anything? Okay, so I think this is my cue. Commissioner reports. We'll start with Julie. Do you have anything to report?
No, their report was, yes.
No? Reports?
No, we don't have. Well, yes, report. I could report briefly on what else Lali's done, okay? I mean, just, Lali sponsored Science and Technology Week. 3 events with Kira Chang, Harper Academy Junior, and author of science-oriented children's books, including How Do Rainbows Work and How Do Ouchies Heal. The first event included hosting a book club, 4 p.m. November 13th. She gave away copies of her latest book. She read both of her books during the library's preschool story time on November 14th. And she led a writer's workshop for students in 6th grade and up, 4 p.m. November 15th. The children who attended were intrigued by the subject matter of her books and the writing process. In the writer's workshop, she guided them through a step-by-step process of how to select a topic and then how to write about it. What was the attendance on the events?
But I think it was a good attendance. I don't know, the story time was well attended by kids, and the writer's workshop I thought was very well attended, and it was interesting to see those kids just with their heads down, you know, doing the work. So I thought it was a well attended. We had the orchard room.
And the writer's workshop was something completely new that the author worked with the librarian to create. So it was her first time giving it, and it was very well orchestrated. And like Freddie said, heads down, the kids were working through every single question. It was a process to go through and creating the storyline, the characters, what was going to happen. I was just stunned at their attention to detail. And then they asked a lot of questions about how to get it published. So it wasn't just a one and done. It was very, very interesting.
The kids were very engaged, and some of the kids had read her books before they got there. And I was surprised, the kids were younger. I mean, these were younger kids. It was interesting how sophisticated their questions.
Yes.
It was and she was amazing. She had, number one, she had such a rapport with those children. I just thought she was incredible. And she was extremely good at communicating. She did the story time as well. It was as well executed as this writer's workshop, which was her first time. And it was, that was really quite an undertaking. It was not, just some little, it was a very well executed and thought out program on how to write, how to think of a topic, and how to write about it. I mean, I was amazed. I learned a lot.
I was very pleased when we invited her to work with us that she accepted all 3 of our proposals. We thought we would get one. So she was there 3 afternoons in a row. And since she doesn't drive, that meant that her parents drove her here to be here for the afternoon. So she contributed a lot of her time.
They're very proud parents, and they've got good reason to be.
Thank you for organizing that. There was a couple more things. Where is it? Lally has a donor appreciation speaking volumes event scheduled for April 1st. And the Libraries of the Future event is being rescheduled, date to be determined.
It'll be in the fall, so we'll let you know as soon as we have the dates. September, October. The speaking volumes author is Alka Joshi, and she wrote The Henna Artist. She teaches at Stanford, and she's internationally known, so that should be really interesting to everybody. Obviously, we're all invited.
Yeah, I just to add, I thought the selection for the writer workshop and the kids program was excellent. I mean, was inspired to do that. and to pull it off. Yes, yes.
No, we have Rose and her staff came up with those ideas. I just found the author, so.
Well, yeah. Anyway, it's good to see, absolutely good to see that kind of engagement. From a friend side, I've got a couple things. The Friends, the last sale, I believe, was topped all sales. I think they did 20 grand total for the sale. So, you know, that's working out. Yeah, the sales are fantastic. There's another one coming up, the winter sale, where there's a silent auction and, you know, everything sorted. Bags and books. Christine probably knows it better. The teachers, books for school. And outside of that, I mean, Kim Axelrod is the VP. They're moving forward. You know, December was really about getting their accounting together, getting their tax returns set up and everything else. But the Friends keep rolling and another sale's coming up and I hope you guys can come. And that's it for my report. So with that, I think we can adjourn. And let us eat cake.
And